You are radiating something at this very moment. Every thought you hold, every word you speak, every emotion you permit to live within you is sending out a silent command to the world. You are not merely flesh and bone. You are a magnetic center of power. And the quality of what you attract is determined by the quality of what you are. The world has called it the law of attraction, but I call it what it truly is, the law of harmony between mind and circumstance. It is not a superstition. It is not a child's game of wishful thinking. It is the oldest law of the universe, the law that governs the rise and fall of every man, every empire, every fortune. You are a living magnet, drawing to yourself the exact conditions that match the dominant vibration of your mind. Think doubt, and you attract delay. Think fear, and you attract failure. Think faith, and the world reorganizes itself around your decision. You are not a victim of chance. You are the cause of your condition. The weak spend their lives cursing fate. The wise learn to command it, and command begins not in prayer, not in complaint, not in struggle, but in thought. The man who governs his thought governs his energy. The man who governs his energy governs his world. Every success, every defeat, every meeting, every fortune begins in the invisible field of your vibration. I have seen men of little education, with no money and no influence, draw riches to themselves as iron to a magnet, not by luck, but by law. For their minds vibrated in harmony with abundance, and abundance obeyed. When I say master your energy, I speak of the one task that determines all others, the discipline of your inner world. The world outside you is only a mirror. It reflects the images you fix within. The man who complains of poverty while thinking of lack will always see lack reflected back to him. The man who speaks of abundance believes in abundance and serves with abundance in his heart. He cannot escape it. The average man believes energy is found in food, in money, in time. But true energy, the power that commands fortune, flows from a definite state of mind. When the mind is ordered, calm, and burning with purpose, it emits a vibration that penetrates all resistance. It is the vibration of certainty, the energy of faith. You must understand this. Everything in this universe responds to vibration. Every success, every opportunity, every ally you will ever need exists now in potential form, waiting for your signal. That signal is the tone of your thought. Speak with conviction, and the world rushes to obey. Speak with fear, and it will hesitate, delay, and deny. This is not mysticism. It is law. I have watched it work in the lives of men like Ford, Edison, and Carnegie. Each of them learned to master their inner vibration long before mastering industry or invention. They radiated confidence when others trembled. They believed when others mocked. They held an image of success so firm that failure could find no resting place in their minds. When you enter a room, you are already teaching others how to treat you, not by your words, but by your energy, your posture, your eyes, your tone. These are the visible expressions of your invisible vibration. The man who carries faith feels like a king in every place he stands. The man who carries fear feels like a beggar even in a palace. Your aura is the atmosphere of your belief. It announces to the world who you are before you speak. That is why two men with equal talent can walk into the same opportunity, and one will prosper while the other fades. It is not fate. It is energy. One radiates certainty, the other radiates doubt. The universe knows the difference. You will never attract that which you secretly believe you do not deserve. This is the hidden truth behind all failure. The law of attraction does not respond to your words. It responds to your self-concept. The poor man praying for wealth while thinking like a beggar repels the very riches he desires. But the man who believes himself rich in thought, in word, in act, draws fortune as surely as the sun draws flowers from the earth. There is a reason I have called faith a state of mind. Faith is the vibration of harmony with the infinite. It is the energy that bends circumstance, the aura that shields from fear, the magnetic field through which every great man has walked untouched by doubt. Look at your life. Every condition surrounding you is a reflection of your dominant thoughts of the past. If you wish to change your future, you must change your vibration now. For the future is only the echo of your present belief. Repeat these words until they take root. I am a living magnet. I attract the ideas, people, and opportunities that match the power of my definite purpose. I am not a servant of fear. I am the master of energy. The man who keeps this vibration alive through persistence and faith soon discovers that what others call miracles are only the lawful effects of his inner order. He becomes calm in storms, confident in failure, certain in uncertainty. The world calls him lucky, but he knows it is law. You must decide now what you will radiate, for life does not pay men for effort, it pays them for vibration. It does not give according to labor, it gives according to law. Decide what you are, choose what you believe, and let no external condition convince you otherwise. When I say master your energy, I do not mean escape the world. I mean conquer it from within. You cannot hold fear in your heart and expect faith to answer. You cannot speak of peace while thinking of worry. You cannot draw success while dwelling on failure. You must be internally definite before life can be externally obedient. There are men who spend their lives chasing success like a ghost, never realizing it has been shadowing them all along, waiting for them to turn and face it with belief. And there are others who, once they decide, find that doors open without effort, allies appear without reason, opportunities flow without struggle. These are not accidents. They are the predictable results of a mastered vibration. If you wish to change your world, change your tone. The world is your echo. It repeats the music of your mind. If you would hear harmony, think harmony. If you would hear abundance, think abundance. If you would see success, believe it already yours. From this moment, speak only words that build. Think only thoughts that lift. Hold only images that match your highest vision. Let faith burn so bright within you that doubt cannot survive in its presence. This is the mastery of energy. This is the law of attraction revealed in its true form, not as idle wishing, but as disciplined vibration. For the next few moments, silence your fears. Listen as if the infinite were speaking through your own mind, because it is. Every law that governs success begins and ends within you. The world is waiting to mirror the power you choose to radiate. So master your energy, guard your aura, and remember, what you radiate, you attract. The vibration of faith is the key that unlocks every door between thought and destiny. Every man lives within an atmosphere invisible to his eyes, yet felt by all who cross his path. It is the silent climate of his thought, the unseen radiance that declares his inner condition before his lips can form a word. Men call it presence, influence, magnetism, charm. But beneath all names, it is the vibration of the mind made visible through conduct and feeling. This invisible field is not accident nor mystery. It is law. The thoughts you think and the emotions you permit are electrical currents shaping the air around you. You may speak what you will, but your tone of belief speaks louder. The universe reads not your language, but your vibration. It responds not to your wishes, but to the order or confusion of your inner state. You are never alone, for your thoughts travel with you. They are woven into the aura that surrounds you, the spiritual fragrance of your dominant moods. Enter a room in anger and the air chills. Enter in faith and men feel lighter without knowing why. Each emotion, each conviction, each silent habit of mind adds its note to the unseen symphony of your presence. This atmosphere is your true introduction to the world. It announces you before your words arrive. A man may dress finely, may speak with eloquence, yet if his inner tone is disordered, men will draw back without knowing reason. Another, clothed in simplicity but vibrating with calm faith, is welcomed and trusted at once. The world always recognizes its own vibration. The aura of a man is the reflection of his mental order. Fear freezes it, faith warms it, doubt clouds it, decision clears it. It is the barometer of the soul, registering each storm of emotion, each ray of belief. When it glows with confidence, all who enter its circle feel lifted. When it is heavy with uncertainty, even fortune hesitates to draw near. The secret, therefore, is not to pursue charm, nor to imitate confidence, but to produce inner order. The outer radiance will follow as surely as light follows flame. No man can counterfeit vibration. The world reads truth not through intellect, but through instinct. It feels the rhythm of your mind before it hears your argument. This is why some men seem born to lead. It is not accident of voice or stature. It is the magnetic alignment of purpose. Their thought, emotion, and will flow as one current. They are inwardly organized. The aura of such a mind moves through crowds like a silent command. Without demanding, it directs. Without boasting, it convinces. When I studied men like Henry Ford, I found that his greatest invention was not mechanical, but mental. In the midst of panic, when markets fell and factories halted, his inner fire did not waver. Investors watched him as sailors watch a lighthouse. His calm was their compass. He did not need to speak reassurance. His atmosphere spoke for him. Thomas Edison possessed the same radiance. He failed more times than others dared to attempt, yet through each defeat his confidence glowed unbroken. Those around him caught his faith as one catches flame. When his laboratory burned, he looked upon the ruins and said, "There is great value in disaster. It clears away old mistakes." That is inner fire, the warmth of faith that melts misfortune. Every man can kindle this fire, for it is not a gift of birth, but of discipline. You must learn to govern your emotional temperature. A fearful mind chills all enterprise. A resentful mind poisons its own atmosphere. But a mind filled with faith radiates warmth that attracts cooperation, opportunity, and goodwill. Let me speak plainly. You are radiating something at this very moment. Your thoughts are not confined within your skull. They are currents in motion, passing silently into the mental ether of others. If you would test this, observe how one negative person can darken an entire group, and how one hopeful soul can revive it. Energy moves by law. You must therefore become conscious of what you carry into the world. Ask yourself often, what is my tone? When you wake in the morning, feel the quality of your mood before you act. Is it calm or hurried, confident or restless? For that tone is the seed of your day's events. Life will echo the vibration you begin with. This discipline requires watchfulness, for emotion is subtle. Anger may disguise itself as zeal. Fear may clothe itself in prudence. But the body knows the truth. When the pulse quickens and the breath shortens, your vibration is disturbed. Withdraw for a moment. Breathe deliberately. Reorder thought. For as soon as calm returns, power returns with it. Do not mistake this calm for passivity. True calm is condensed strength. The tempestuous man wastes his energy in waves. The calm man directs his in-rays. One strikes blindly, the other burns through obstacles with steady fire. Force compels for a moment, harmony persuades forever. Calmness is the silent assurance of mastery. I have met men of great ambition who mistook intensity for power. They strained, shouted, demanded, yet their energy scattered. Others, quiet in voice but firm in conviction, accomplished tenfold. The world follows not noise but magnetism. It obeys the one whose inner tone is definite, harmonious, and serene. Think of your mind as a lamp. The oil is emotion. The flame is thought. If the oil is impure, the light flickers. If it burns steadily, the light expands. Each time you hold faith, you cleanse the oil. Each time you permit fear, you darken it. Keep your flame steady, and your world will illuminate in proportion. The first rule of mastery is this: govern emotion, and the atmosphere around you will change. The man who cannot command himself commands nothing, but the man who keeps inner order makes the very air serve him. People feel safer near him, for he radiates certainty. Opportunity lingers near him, for his tone is harmonious with success. You may test this by recalling those who have influenced you most. Were they not men of quiet strength rather than loud claim? Did they not speak few words, yet every word carried weight? Their magnetism lay not in speech, but in balance. The world leans toward equilibrium, and wherever it finds it, it gathers. In the Ethiopian scrolls it is written, "The wise man ruleth his breath and commandeth the air around him." This is not poetry, but science. Your breath mirrors your vibration. When disturbed, the breath is broken. When centered, it flows evenly. Practice daily the art of measured breathing until calm becomes habitual. Through calm, your aura clarifies. Now, let us examine what I call the mental temperature. There are minds so chilled by fear that no seed of success can germinate within them. Their atmosphere repels confidence, as frost repels bloom. Others, warmed by enthusiasm and faith, draw opportunity as spring draws life from the earth. The one complains of bad luck, the other creates good fortune. If you would change your condition, you must first change your climate. Do not wait for warmth from others. Kindle it within. Sit each morning for 5 minutes and recall your definite purpose. Picture it as accomplished. Feel gratitude in advance. That feeling is the fire of faith, and as you hold it, your entire nervous system begins to vibrate with power. At first, this may feel like imagination, but all creation begins there. Thought, when held long enough, becomes substance. The outer world condenses from the vapor of inner vision. The mind that glows with purpose attracts its likeness as surely as flame draws moths. Keep the fire steady, and your world will grow warm around you. Some men speak of luck, others of opportunity. I speak of vibration. Fortune gravitates toward those who radiate its tone. The man who expects success, calmly, without arrogance, creates an atmosphere that guides unseen circumstances toward him. What the ignorant call chance is the arithmetic of faith. You are both cause and effect. Your thoughts are causes. Your conditions are effects. The weak man believes his environment forms him. The strong man knows his atmosphere precedes him. He does not ask life to change first. He changes himself and watches the mirror of the world obey. Do not be deceived by appearances. You may labor among critics, competitors, and doubters, yet if your vibration remains pure, none can harm you. Their discord cannot penetrate your harmony. The law of correspondence protects you, as within, so without. Keep your mind luminous, and no darkness can touch you. Practice this exercise each day. Sit in silence and imagine your thoughts as colors filling a room. What hue do they cast? Is it storm or sunlight? If you find shadow, do not condemn it. Replace it. Picture calm gold light flowing from your chest until all is radiant. Feel it expand beyond your skin, touching walls, trees, and sky. Know that this is not fantasy, but alignment. This visualization trains your energy to obey your command. Soon you will notice that strangers treat you differently. Opportunities arise where none existed, and even difficulties lose their sting. These are not miracles. They are mirrors. Life has caught your new reflection. Let us recall the men whose lives exemplify this truth. Henry Ford, calm as a mountain, radiated steadiness when the world trembled. Investors trusted his vibration more than their own ledgers. Thomas Edison, glowing with creative fire, turned failure into progress through the warmth of faith. Andrew Carnegie, whose smile could melt opposition, surrounded himself with harmony and built wealth upon cooperation rather than conflict. They differed in craft, but shared one secret. Each mastered his atmosphere before mastering his empire. They cultivated an inner order so exact that the world could not resist responding to it. Their magnetism was not chance. It was character organized into energy. You must learn to do the same. Begin by observing your habitual state. Are you hurried, restless, resentful? These are leaks in the vessel of your power. Patch them with faith. Replace restlessness with rhythm, resentment with gratitude, haste with order. Each correction refines your aura. Remember always, emotion is energy in motion. If you permit anger to linger, you squander vitality. If you harbor envy, you poison your current. But if you transmute emotion into purpose, it becomes fuel. The greatest generator of power is peace held under tension, calm faith, driving deliberate action. When men of little understanding speak of energy, they think of physical strength. But true energy flows from unity of mind. A calm mind can labor longer, decide more clearly, and influence more deeply than a restless one. Its aura extends farther, because harmony travels without resistance. Let your manner be firm but kind, your eyes steady but gentle, your tone measured but strong. These are not tricks of behavior, but reflections of inner mastery. The world is drawn to equilibrium, and when you embody it, men instinctively follow. Make this your daily affirmation. My atmosphere is peace. My thought is command. My presence moves the world to harmony. Speak it upon rising. Repeat it before rest. Let it soak into the subconscious until peace becomes your default vibration. For as peace deepens, authority strengthens. You are not a creature of circumstance. You are the source of it. The law of harmony obeys your inner command. When the heart is steady and the mind pure, life rearranges itself to match the tone you hold. That tone is your true wealth, your protection, and your power. Guard it as sacred. Keep your thought luminous, your emotion orderly, and your purpose definite. The fire within you is the sun of your world. Feed it daily with faith, and it will light the path before you. Let it go dim, and even noon becomes twilight. Therefore, watch your inner temperature. When fear chills, rekindle faith. When anger scorches, cool with reason. When doubt clouds, clear with gratitude. Maintain balance, and you will find that all things move toward you in proper season. In time, you will notice that your mere presence changes conditions. Arguments soften, confusion clears, opportunities appear. This is not magic. It is mastery. You have become a living magnet of order, and the world, which ever seeks equilibrium, finds peace in your vibration. Hold fast to this knowledge. No man can give you power, and no man can take it. The source of all power is the fire within, governed by the law of harmony between thought and emotion. Master that law, and fortune must obey. Now, let this truth seal itself upon your heart. The aura is not a mystery. It is your mind made visible. As within, so without. The tone of your faith becomes the melody of your world. The man who learns to tune himself to harmony becomes irresistible. All creation moves by rhythm. The tides rise and fall. The seasons advance and retreat. The heart beats. The stars revolve. All in perfect correspondence to one unbroken pulse of order. The mind of man, too, vibrates within this rhythm. Every thought you hold, every emotion you repeat, every conviction you sustain sets up a current that travels outward through the ether of circumstance and returns multiplied. Your life is not a series of accidents. It is a series of vibrations matched to your habitual thought. The world responds to the tone of your belief as a violin string responds to the note struck beside it. This is the law of resonance, the great unseen principle by which mind calls unto mind, circumstance unto circumstance, and destiny unto destiny. Men have called it the law of attraction, yet it is far deeper than that. Attraction is the shadow, resonance is the substance. It is not mere wishing, but the science of vibration between thought and the infinite. The mind is not a storage place for ideas. It is a transmitter. Each thought you think sends a wave into the unseen. That wave seeks its likeness, finds it, and returns with its equivalent. Faith is the tone that carries these waves to their mark. Doubt breaks the rhythm, just as two instruments playing in different keys produce discord. When your mind alternates between belief and fear, your vibration stammers, and the universe hears confusion. But when thought and faith move together, the current flows in perfect pitch, and conditions align with precision. You have seen this law at work in music. Strike a note on one instrument, and another tuned to the same pitch will begin to vibrate, though untouched. So it is with mind. Every definite thought you send forth stirs its counterpart in the invisible world. It travels until it finds the object of its own vibration. When your thought is harmonious, it finds harmony. When it is chaotic, it finds confusion. The power of this law lies in repetition. One impulse of thought may pass unnoticed, but the steady rhythm of belief builds momentum until the invisible substance of life takes shape around it. Repetition is not superstition. It is the act of forming rhythm. A single hammer stroke shapes nothing. Thousands carve stone. So too must your mind strike its note daily until the vibration becomes permanent. This is why the mind that repeats faith grows magnetic. Its vibration is constant, its frequency fixed, its signal unwavering. Such a mind draws the world to itself as the earth draws the rain. It does not chase, it receives. It does not beg, it invites. This is not mysticism. It is the mathematics of spirit. Consider Abraham Lincoln. While the nation divided and blood flooded its fields, his mind remained tuned to the note of unity. When generals quarreled, when politicians threatened, when defeat seemed near, his thought never wavered. He vibrated with faith in the ultimate justice of God and in the destiny of a free people. The world responded to his vibration. The war that shattered others refined his spirit, and his resonance with unity rebuilt a nation. Thomas Edison was another who lived by this law. Failure was his companion, yet faith was his rhythm. Each experiment that failed only deepened his resonance with discovery. He refused the vibration of defeat and maintained the tone of success. At last, the vibration matched its material form, and the light that glowed in his laboratory became the light of the world. When I observed these men, I found that their outer achievements were but reflections of an inner harmony. They were not lucky. They were in tune. Their thoughts and emotions moved in the same direction, unbroken by contradiction. They did not hope with one part of the mind and doubt with another. They held a single rhythm until the world could not resist it. Most men vibrate in conflict. They wish for prosperity but think in poverty. They plan for success but feel unworthy. Their minds play two notes at once, and the result is dissonance. Life cannot respond to such confusion, for a law demands precision. The universe cannot interpret mixed messages. It mirrors exactly what it receives. To apply this law, begin by observing your mental tone. When you think of your goal, what emotion accompanies it? Excitement? Fear? Doubt? If your emotion contradicts your thought, the vibration is broken. Bring the two into harmony. Feel as though what you desire is already yours. Speak of it as certain. Act as if it could not fail. The emotion will then match the idea, and the vibration will travel true. Remember, the body itself reflects this law. When faith dominates, the pulse steadies, the breath deepens, the muscles relax. When fear intrudes, the rhythm breaks, the pulse quickens, the breath shortens. The mind and body are one instrument. Each emotion plays upon it, and the sound it produces is your vibration to the world. This is why the calm man influences more than the loud one. His vibration is steady, and others fall into its rhythm. The angry man shouts but commands no harmony. His tone scatters those around him. Leadership is not volume but vibration. Men follow not because they are told, but because they feel the resonance of certainty. I have said that repetition fixes rhythm. Let us understand why. The subconscious mind is the instrument through which vibration becomes reality. It cannot reason, cannot argue, cannot doubt. It simply accepts the rhythm fed to it and reproduces it. Each time you repeat a thought with feeling, you strike that note upon the subconscious. At first it echoes faintly, but with persistence it begins to vibrate on its own. When the subconscious takes up the rhythm, the vibration continues day and night, sending its waves into the ether until they find expression. This is why prayer, affirmation, and autosuggestion must be constant. The repetition is not for God's benefit, but for your own. You are tuning the instrument of mind to a single key. When tuned, the whole orchestra of life adjusts to play your theme. There is no mystery in this. It is the same law that governs electricity, sound, and magnetism. The mind is the highest form of energy and thought its current. Just as a compass needle turns to the magnetic pole, so every condition turns toward the dominant vibration of your mind. If your tone is fear, circumstances of fear align. If your tone is faith, fortune aligns. When your thought and feeling contradict, you create interference. The wave of faith collides with the wave of fear, producing stillness where movement should be. This is why so many struggle without progress. Their vibration is inconsistent. They pray for success in the morning, complain of failure by noon, and doubt themselves by night. The law cannot obey such divided command. To correct this, you must cultivate emotional steadiness. Sit daily in silence. Breathe deeply and think only of one definite purpose. Feel it as a reality until your nerves hum with quiet power. Do not allow doubt to intrude. If it comes, replace it with gratitude. Gratitude is the great harmonizer. It retunes the heart instantly. Each time you practice, your inner tone grows stronger until faith becomes second nature. I recall speaking once with a man who had lost his business. He blamed fate, partners, and competition. His words were filled with complaint, his tone with bitterness. I told him, "You will never rebuild until your vibration changes." Life is merely echoing your discontent. He resisted at first, but agreed to try. For 30 days, he practiced gratitude and definite thought. His energy shifted. Within 6 months, new partners appeared, and his fortune returned. This is no accident. The world is not resisting you. It is waiting for your vibration to stabilize. The moment your inner note becomes consistent, circumstances rearrange themselves to match it. The universe is orderly, and you must join its order. Harmony cannot unite with confusion. Faith, then, is not emotion, but vibration, the steady frequency of certainty. Hope trembles, faith hums. Hope looks to the future, faith vibrates now. The man of faith lives in the tone of achievement before achievement arrives. His vibration calls forth its likeness from the unseen. This is why Jesus said, "When ye pray, believe that ye receive." The vibration of belief precedes the manifestation. To strengthen faith, combine thought and emotion through repetition. Say to yourself daily, "My thoughts ring in perfect pitch with success. The world hears my tone and obeys." Speak it not as wish, but as command. Feel its truth until it becomes your natural rhythm. In time, every nerve, every breath, every glance will carry that vibration. The power of resonance extends beyond personal success. It governs relationships, opportunities, and even chance encounters. Each person you meet is drawn or repelled by your vibration. When your tone is pure, you attract the faithful and repel the false. When it is clouded, confusion follows you. This is why the wise man purifies his thought before he speaks. His silence already broadcasts. Think of the aura as a wireless signal. It transmits ceaselessly. The question is not whether you are broadcasting, but what station you are tuned to. If you wish for harmony, tune to faith. If you wish for abundance, tune to gratitude. If you wish for opportunity, tune to service. The universe is full of stations. You need only choose your frequency. In every age, the greatest men have lived in conscious resonance with their vision. Michelangelo felt the statue living within the marble before he carved it. His thought vibrated so strongly with form that stone obeyed it. Columbus sailed not toward a shore he could see, but toward one he could feel. The vibration of discovery drew the continent to him. This law operates impartially. It rewards clarity and punishes contradiction. The weak man says, "I hope it will happen," and life echoes, "Perhaps." The strong man says, "It is done," and life answers, "So be it." The tone determines the response. To attune your mind perfectly, remove discordant influences. Guard against gossip, pessimism, and fear. Every conversation you entertain alters your vibration. Choose companions who believe in law, not chance. In faith, not doubt. Their tone will strengthen yours. The mastermind principle rests upon this truth. United faith multiplies vibration until it moves the world. When I worked with Andrew Carnegie, I felt this power firsthand. His mind was a living magnet. Those near him caught his rhythm of confidence. He surrounded himself with men who vibrated in harmony with his purpose. Together, they became an engine of creation, their combined tones strong enough to mold steel and fortune alike. You may not command industries, but you command your atmosphere. Begin there. Keep your vibration steady in the small things, and it will hold firm in the great. Speak no idle word against your vision. Think no thought that weakens it. Let faith become the music of your mind, and play it daily until the world dances to its rhythm. The proof will come quietly, Strangers will greet you kindly. Doors will open unexpectedly. Delays will dissolve. People will call you lucky, yet you will know it is law. You will sense the invisible cooperation of forces once opposed to you. You will walk as one who carries his own weather, serene, magnetic, victorious. When storms arise, as they must, remember that resonance is not broken by outer noise. The true musician plays through thunder. Maintain your rhythm. Speak calmly. My vibration is steady. No force can disturb it. I am faith embodied. Repeat until peace returns. The storm will exhaust itself, and your tone will remain untouched. Understand this. Every man is a tuning fork, and the world vibrates to his note. Choose your note carefully, for it will determine your company, your fortune, your destiny. You need not fight for position, nor beg for favor. You need only hold your pitch. The law of resonance will do the rest. In the silence of night, when fear creeps upon you, remind yourself that the same intelligence that guides the stars guides you. You are not a fragment in chaos, but a cell in the infinite body of order. Feel that truth until your heart beats with gratitude. That heartbeat is the pulse of the infinite in you. The man who lives by this law becomes a lighthouse of vibration. Ships lost in fog steer toward him unconsciously. He need not signal, his steadiness guides. So will it be with you when faith becomes your fixed tone. Those adrift in doubt will find courage in your presence. Those lost in confusion will sense direction from your calm. Repetition, constancy, and emotional harmony. These are your tools. Through them you will learn that the world is not material first, but mental. Not substance, but sound. Every wall is an echo. Every event an answer. Keep your thought musical and your faith firm, and your life will become a symphony. Repeat this affirmation until it becomes rhythm within you. My thoughts ring in perfect pitch with success. The world hears my tone and obeys. I am faith embodied, and my vibration moves the unseen to form. Hold it, live it, breathe it. For once your vibration matches your vision, the law of resonance will bring it forth without struggle. Then you shall know thought commands circumstance, and faith is the hand that strikes the note. Look around you. Every person, every event, every condition in your life is a mirror. The world is not attacking you, nor is it blessing you by whim. It is reflecting you, your thought, your faith, your vibration. This is the great law of reflection, the unseen truth that life is a looking glass of the soul. You cannot see anything in the outer world that is not first imprinted within your inner world. Most men spend their years trying to polish the mirror without cleansing the face it reflects. They curse circumstances, complain of injustice, and plead for change, never realizing they are staring into their own mental image. They fight shadows and blame fate, not knowing that their condition is but the echo of the tone they have struck. When the mind holds fear, the world echoes fear. When it holds faith, the world echoes faith. The tone may be subtle, but its return is exact. Life is impartial. It merely mirrors the vibration you radiate. You cannot deceive the law any more than you can deceive the mirror on your wall. The image it shows is not personal. It is precise. You have perhaps stood before a mirror in anger and struck it for showing you a frown. The blow does not change the reflection. It deepens it. So it is with life. When a man resists the image of his own creation, he multiplies it. What you condemn in others, you magnify in yourself. For condemnation is focus, and focus strengthens vibration. The wise man therefore seeks correction, not revenge. When discord appears, he asks, "What part of my thought has created this?" Then he adjusts himself, and the reflection changes. He does not fight mirrors. He reforms the mind that casts them. He knows that all improvement is inward before it is outward. You may think this law unjust, but it is the highest mercy, for it keeps man accountable to himself. It allows no blindness. It brings back to you the measure of what you send forth. Through its accuracy, you are trained in wisdom, and every apparent injustice becomes instruction. When you understand this, blame dies, and power is born. There was a time when I, too, resisted this truth. I looked upon hardship as punishment, upon failure as fate. But when I traced every event to its mental cause, I saw that I had summoned it. My complaints, my doubts, my fear of delay had all taken form. I had broadcast my weakness, and the world had faithfully echoed it. When I altered my tone, new conditions appeared as if by miracle. But it was not miracle. It was law. Andrew Carnegie told me once, "I never quarrel with men or with life. I polish my purpose." He meant that he corrected his inner thought rather than fight outer obstacles. When an enterprise failed, he did not curse his partners or his fortune. He examined the vibration of his own belief. His calm faith drew cooperation. His gratitude erased conflict. That was the secret of his empire: harmony within, reflection without. Helen Keller proved this law in a way beyond physical senses. Though blind and deaf, she saw through spirit. Her outer darkness mirrored no inner shadow, for her faith was radiant. She lived in joy because she refused to reflect limitation. The world answered with reverence, showing that life cannot withhold beauty from one who beholds it within. The great secret of reflection is that outer discord reveals inner disorder. Each irritation, each disappointment is a message from your higher self saying, there is something in you yet to be harmonized. When you hear that message and obey, peace returns. When you ignore it, the lesson repeats louder. The world will continue to echo until you tune your vibration to harmony. Observe your daily reactions. When you meet criticism, how do you respond? With resentment? Then you have found a chord of vanity still vibrating in you. When you face delay, do you grow impatient? Then faith is incomplete. Each disturbance points to a shadow of thought yet unmastered. Thank it, for it shows where to apply correction. Gratitude is the cloth that polishes the mirror of life. When you give thanks, you purify the reflection. The complaining man sees more reason to complain because he strengthens the image of lack. The grateful man multiplies his blessings, for gratitude reflects light. The more you behold good, the more good beholds you. Do not suppose that this means ignoring injustice. It means understanding it. The law of reflection ensures that no deed escapes balance. The dishonest man may prosper for a season, but his vibration cannot remain hidden. In time, his own atmosphere turns against him. Life returns to every man the tone he sends forth, and when he hears his echo, he calls it judgment. Let us illustrate with the simplest example. Imagine a man who mistrusts all people. His thought radiates suspicion. Wherever he goes, men sense it and hold back their goodwill. He then says, "You see, no one is sincere." But it was his own vibration that created the coldness. He sowed mistrust and reaped its likeness. When he learns to think faith and radiate openness, the reflection changes. Men become friendly, opportunity multiplies, the mirror never lied, it obeyed. This law is not new. It was known to the ancient sages who wrote, "As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he." The heart is the source of vibration, the seat of feeling. What you feel deeply becomes the mold of your world. The surface thoughts of the intellect cannot deceive the heart's current. The universe listens to your dominant feeling, not your fleeting wish. Therefore, if you wish to change your reflection, you must change not words but conviction. Speak kindly of wealth while resenting the wealthy, and poverty will stay near. Preach faith while fearing failure, and fear will echo louder. But fill your mind with sincerity. Think well of others. Feel gratitude for their success, and life will mirror abundance to you. Many men chase success as though it were a runaway horse, not realizing it follows them like a shadow. The more they strain, the farther it flees. The more they relax in harmony, the closer it draws. You cannot seize reflection. You must embody its cause. This is why I tell every student of success, cease asking life to be different. Ask yourself to think differently. The world is your silent pupil. It copies your lesson exactly. When your instruction is clear, its obedience is perfect. When your instruction is confused, its answer is chaos. The law of reflection teaches humility and courage at once. Humility because you can no longer blame. Courage because you see that you are the source. To say, I caused this, is the beginning of mastery. It means you can cause something better. Responsibility is freedom in disguise. Let us imagine two men of equal skill. One meets rejection and curses the world. The other meets it and examines himself. The first multiplies rejection through bitterness. The second transforms it through insight. Soon, opportunity returns to him. The mirror has changed because he has changed. This is the difference between victim and victor. One reacts, the other reflects. You may test this law by small experiments. Smile at a stranger sincerely, and he will smile back. Frown, and he will turn away. Speak encouragement to a child, and watch confidence grow. Criticize, and see it fade. The mirror responds instantly to the vibration you project. Extend the same principle to wealth, health, and success, and you will see that every aspect of life behaves as obediently as the child or the stranger. When the mind becomes clear of blame and filled with faith, reflection quickens. Delays dissolve because resistance is gone. Life begins to flow toward you as rivers flow toward the sea. The calm man becomes the magnet of peace. The loving man draws love. The industrious man attracts opportunity. Each has tuned himself to his reflection. Let me give you a visualization to strengthen this understanding. Imagine your life as a great lake. Each thought is a stone you cast upon it. The ripples spread outward and return to the shore of your experience. If the stone is of fear, the ripples are sharp and cold. If it is of faith, they are smooth and warm. You cannot control the lake's surface by striking it. You can only choose what stones you throw. Each morning before beginning your labor, sit for a few minutes and examine your tone. Ask, what do I wish my reflection to show today? Then think, speak, and act as if that reflection were already shining. Hold the image until it feels real, for feeling is the signal to the universe that you are ready. The world cannot give you what you do not believe yourself worthy to receive. Understand this well. To envy is to declare yourself inferior. The vibration of envy repels success. To admire sincerely is to invite its reflection. When you see a man of achievement, say within, his success proves the law, and by the same law I shall succeed. This thought aligns you with his vibration. The mirror of life then shows you the path by which to reach it. Do not fear correction from life's mirror. When hardship arises, it is polishing your image. The storm that bends a tree strengthens its roots. The difficulty that confronts you is the reflection of a lesson still unlearned. Embrace it, and it will fade. Resist it, and it will return. Gratitude dissolves every shadow faster than complaint. You may say, but what of injustice? What of suffering I did not cause? Remember that the law is collective as well as personal. Humanity as a whole projects thought into the world, and each man shares in its reflection. Your duty is to purify your own vibration, for the pure mind lifts the race. The radiance of one steady soul can correct a multitude of disordered ones. The harmony of a single faith-filled man balances the discord of hundreds who fear. This truth gives you moral power. You need not wait for the world to improve. You can improve the world by improving yourself. Each thought of kindness lightens the atmosphere of mankind. Each act of courage strengthens the collective faith. The mirror of civilization will shine brighter when individual minds polish their own glass. I have seen this law work upon nations. When a people think poverty, they draw poverty's reflection. When they think industry, courage, and cooperation, they attract prosperity. The progress of America itself sprang from the faith of its founders, who believed in liberty and enterprise when both were but ideals. Their thought became a national vibration, and the continent echoed it with wealth. So too can every man found a private kingdom within his own mind. Let your faith be its constitution, your purpose its law, your gratitude its flag. Then the realm of circumstance will serve your dominion. You may notice that as your vibration changes, old companions drift away and new ones appear. Do not resist this. It is the mirror rearranging itself. Each person in your life corresponds to a thought in your mind. When the thought evolves, the company shifts. Bless those who depart. Welcome those who come. All are reflections of your current stage of growth. The discipline of silent correction is vital. When another offends, hold your peace. Ask inwardly, what in me needs adjustment? Do not justify yourself through blame. Adjust the tone within. Soon you will find that offenses decrease, for life no longer echoes them. Silence is the eraser of conflict. Calm is the solvent of wrong. Let me give you an affirmation to anchor this law. I behold good, and good beholds me. I reflect harmony and receive it multiplied. Speak it until you feel serenity flow through your being. When discord arises, repeat it softly until peace returns. This will remind you that the world is your echo, and you are its cause. The practical reward of this understanding is immense. You become immune to insult, for you see through it. You grow patient with delay, for you know it is only reflection awaiting correction. You cease to envy, for you understand that every blessing in another's life is a signal of what you may reflect through faith. Soon you will notice that your days arrange themselves with greater ease. Work becomes smoother, relationships kinder, health stronger. You have ceased to strike the mirror and begun to cleanse it. Your reflection grows brighter because your inner light no longer flickers. Remember always, the mirror of life never lies. It shows not what you wish to be, but what you are in thought and tone. If you would see nobility, think nobly. If you would see prosperity, feel rich. If you would see peace, radiate calm. What you send forth returns in kind, multiplied by time and habit. The man who learns this ceases to struggle with appearances. He becomes the sculptor of invisible clay. His chisel is thought. His hammer is faith. His model is the ideal he holds before him. Each day he carves away a fragment of doubt, smooths a rough edge of resentment, polishes the form of purpose, until his life stands as a statue of his own making. When you master this law, you will look upon the world not as enemy nor as judge, but as teacher. Every face will speak a lesson. Every event will whisper counsel. You will walk among reflections conscious of your authorship. Your power will be quiet, your peace unshakable. The storms of others will pass over you as wind over glass, leaving you untouched. Thus, the law of reflection becomes the law of liberation. For when you realize the world is your echo, you cease to fear it. No man dreads his own voice when he knows it sings truth. Keep your tone harmonious, and the universe will answer in melody. Let this affirmation close this chapter of understanding. I send forth peace, and it returns. I behold beauty, and beauty beholds me. My world is a reflection of my inner nobility, and each day I polish it with faith. When this truth becomes living knowledge, you will no longer plead for change. You will command it through thought. For the mind not only reflects, it directs. And once you grasp this, you are ready to learn the next great principle, the magnetic will that turns reflection into command. There is no greater power entrusted to man than the power to decide. Decision is the voice of the soul, the divine act through which thought becomes creation. All energy awaits command. Life itself is an obedient servant to the definite mind. When man hesitates, the law stands still. When he decides, the universe moves. Every event of your life waits for your signal. Nothing begins until you will it to begin. Nothing ends until you decree it complete. Yet most men drift like leaves upon the wind, blown by other wills, never realizing that within them lies the power that organizes worlds. The mind of man, when definite, becomes magnetic. It draws to itself the people, resources, and circumstances needed for fulfillment. This is the law of command. It is the principle by which the invisible obeys the visible, and thought becomes flesh. You are not a beggar at the gates of chance. You are the governor of a realm waiting for orders. The moment you say with conviction, I will, the machinery of infinite intelligence begins to arrange the means. But when you say, I might, or I hope, your signal fades into silence and nothing answers. Energy without direction is wasted. Steam can move mountains when confined, but left unchanneled, it disappears into air. So it is with your thought. Without decision, it evaporates. With decision, it becomes force. Most men exhaust themselves in vague effort, forever beginning, forever doubting, because they have never learned to decide once and for all what they truly desire. To decide is to commit your mind, body, and spirit to a single course. It is to cut off every retreat, to silence every opposing voice, and to burn every bridge to fear. The Latin root of the word decide means to cut. Decision severs all that is not aligned with its aim. The undecided man carries 1,000 burdens. The decided man carries one. Consider Henry Ford when he resolved to build the V8 engine. His engineers told him it could not be done. He said simply, build it anyway. Month after month they failed. Year after year they argued. But Ford never altered his decision. His will remained fixed. At last the solution appeared, not through magic, but through the unbreakable vibration of decision. The world calls this genius, but it is law. Andrew Carnegie built his empire by the same principle. His will was calm, yet immovable. When others trembled before financial storms, he said, "This enterprise shall stand." His certainty communicated itself to thousands. Investors, workers, and competitors felt his conviction. It became a living aura that drew cooperation as surely as the earth draws the tide. Decision was his magnet. Rockefeller, too, exemplified this law. He was not loud, not restless, not impulsive. He was quiet command. His associates said that when he entered a room, confusion fled. He spoke little but decided completely. Those who opposed him often yielded without understanding why. They felt the pull of a mind whose will was aligned with universal order. This is the distinction between mere willpower and magnetic will. Willpower tries to push the world by effort. Magnetic will draws it by law. Willpower strains, command directs. One is noise, the other is tone. True will is not violence, but harmony between idea, faith, and purpose. It does not shout, it simply knows. To command, then, is not to force, but to decide with full conviction and no retreat. Once the decision is made, act as though failure were impossible. Each act performed in this spirit multiplies the vibration of certainty. Life becomes organized around your definiteness. The doubtful mind is divided against itself. The definite mind is one with the infinite. You must understand this. Hesitation breaks the circuit of creation. Every time you question your own decision, you send conflicting signals into the field of law. The energy you released in faith is recalled by doubt. You begin again, and the pattern of failure repeats. The universe cannot obey two masters. Choose, then stand. The world will bend in time to the direction of your steadiness. There are men who believe that waiting is wisdom. They call their hesitation prudence, their fear caution. They weigh each option endlessly and call it reason. Yet they forget that no scale moves until weight is placed upon it. Action, not speculation, reveals truth. The man who decides learns. The man who waits decays. Do not confuse decision with impulse. The impulse is blind. Decision is seeing. The impulse is emotional. Decision is spiritual. You may take time to consider, but once the direction is chosen, the inner debate must cease. The mind must stand firm, unshaken by opinion or circumstance. To reverse a decision because of difficulty is to betray the law itself. When doubt attacks, repeat this command within yourself. I decide, and life obeys. Say it until your nerves feel the rhythm of authority. The body, like the world, responds to command. Decision steadies the heart, clears the eye, deepens the voice. You become calm because you are no longer divided. The undecided man radiates confusion. His aura flickers like a candle in wind. Men do not trust him. Opportunities avoid him. And even his friends grow weary of his uncertainty. The decided man radiates order. His presence inspires confidence, for it is the atmosphere of law. Decision produces the same effect upon the mind of others that gravity produces upon matter. It draws all things into alignment. You can observe this in any field of endeavor. The leader who decides, even imperfectly, moves men. The one who hesitates loses them. Armies have triumphed through the certainty of a single commander, even against greater numbers, because the vibration of decision unites hearts that would otherwise tremble in isolation. The same law governs business, art, invention, and love. Decision magnetizes energy. A writer who decides to finish his book finds time where none existed. An inventor who decides to solve a problem sees ideas rush to him. A man who decides to love without fear draws devotion from others. All these are expressions of one principle. Definite will shapes form. But remember, decision is not only choosing what to do, it is choosing what not to entertain. Each fear you dismiss, each doubt you silence, each distraction you deny strengthens your command. The will grows by exclusion. You do not need more power, you need fewer interruptions. Every fortune begins in the silence of a single definite thought. The moment you decide, you have already created. The act that follows is merely the visible echo. Life is mental first and physical second. Therefore, do not wait for evidence before deciding. Decide, and evidence will appear. Faith precedes proof. The man who waits for certainty will wait forever, for certainty comes only after command. Decision aligns you with infinite intelligence. You may call it providence, God, or law. The name matters not. When you are definite, the higher order of the universe recognizes a kindred vibration and moves to fulfill it. You are no longer an isolated mind, but a conductor of divine purpose. Through your decision, the infinite expresses its will in time and space. The ancient masters taught that the word of man is creative. "Let there be light," said the Creator, and there was light. The same principle holds for you. When your decision is spoken in faith, you recreate your world. The difference between divine and human command is not in kind, but in degree. You are a fragment of the same intelligence, learning to speak its language through definiteness. Every decision leaves an imprint upon the universe, a mental signature that cannot be erased except by another decision of equal strength. You are writing your destiny line by line with each "I will" or "I will not." The indecisive man leaves his page blank, and fate writes upon it whatever it pleases. The decisive man authors his own record. Train yourself to decide quickly when the issue is minor and firmly when it is great. Delay drains energy. Haste wastes it. The wise man deliberates once and decides forever. The fool decides many times and doubts each one. Let your word be final. Say little, but when you speak, let it be law to your own mind. There is a power that comes only after decision, the power of peace. When you have chosen your path, the inner conflict ceases. Energy, once scattered, flows forward. Worry fades because direction replaces it. This peace is not idleness, but clarity. The mind becomes a channel through which inspiration flows unhindered. Practice this power daily. Begin each morning by affirming your purpose. Write it plainly. "This is what I will accomplish." Then act upon it immediately, no matter how small the step. Every act reinforces your command. By nightfall, review your progress and repeat the decision. Through repetition, the will gains muscle and hesitation dies. When you make a true decision, expect opposition. The old vibrations of fear and habit will rise like ghosts to test your authority. Do not wrestle with them. Simply reaffirm your command. The storm will pass. Every decision creates resistance, for energy must realign itself to your new tone. Endure the temporary confusion. It is the birth of order. Understand, too, that no decision is wasted. Even the wrong choice made with conviction is more fruitful than no choice at all. The law of correction operates swiftly for the definite man. Because his vibration is active, he receives feedback sooner and adjusts faster. The drifting man learns nothing, for life does not answer indecision. When you feel uncertainty pressing upon you, close your eyes and breathe until calm returns. Then say within, "Infinite intelligence moves through me. My decision is its decree. Feel the words and act." The mind that trusts its own command becomes fearless. Fear is only the absence of direction. Supply the direction, and fear dissolves. The aura of authority grows through decision. Each time you follow through without retreat, your vibration strengthens. Others will sense it before they understand it. They will defer to your tone, cooperate with your plans, and speak of your confidence. But what they feel is not arrogance, it is alignment. The man who commands himself commands the respect of all. You may have noticed that when you decide to do something, unseen help seems to arise. A friend offers assistance, a coincidence unfolds, an idea flashes at the precise moment. This is not accident, but attraction. The universe moves in rhythm with your command. It is as though unseen hands rearrange the chessboard to favor your move. Decision is the key that unlocks these cooperative forces. Let me offer a practical exercise. Each morning, list one act that you have delayed: a letter to write, a conversation to begin, a plan to start. Decide at once that it shall be done today. Perform it without hesitation. At night, note the peace that follows. Do this daily, and the habit of command will replace the habit of doubt. You will soon feel a change in your body and your mind. Your voice will carry new depth. Your gaze will steady. Your presence will grow magnetic. The vibration of decision alters every cell, every nerve, every circumstance. You will find yourself meeting men of purpose, drawing opportunities of substance, walking in paths once hidden. Life rearranges itself around the axis of your will. Remember this truth. The universe cannot withhold anything from a decided mind. It may delay, but it cannot deny. Decision is the first motion of creation. The rest is fulfillment. The man who decides and holds that decision until realization stands among the masters of fate. Repeat this affirmation when doubt whispers, I am decision embodied. I am the law in motion. I command, and faith fulfills. Speak it aloud each day until your subconscious accepts it as fact. Then live as if it were already true, for in truth it is. The world belongs to the man who knows what he wants and will not turn aside. All history bears witness. The discoverer, the inventor, the builder, the statesman, each achieved through decision. They were men who closed the door of hesitation and opened the door of faith. Their names endure because their will was definite. You too are called to that stature. The same law that served them awaits your use. Decide who you are, what you desire, what you will give in return, and what you will never again tolerate. Write it, speak it, act upon it, and never recant. The law of command will honor your word. When you stand before life with the calm authority of decision, you are no longer a wanderer in the maze of chance. You become a magnetic center of order. People sense it. Events align with it. The invisible powers of the infinite recognize it. You have become a co-creator in the symphony of divine will. This is mastery of the will. Not domination over others, but dominion over self. You have replaced drift with direction, fear with faith, confusion with clarity. You have learned to speak the language of power, not in words alone, but in vibration. Let this part close with your declaration. I decide, and life obeys. I am decision embodied. I am the law in motion. My will is calm command, and by that command, destiny aligns. Speak it until it lives in every heartbeat. For the man who decides becomes the lawgiver of his own world, and the world, by the eternal law of harmony, must obey. There comes a moment in the growth of every awakened soul when he ceases to chase power and begins to radiate it. He no longer prays for strength as if it were something outside himself, for he has learned that strength is the natural emanation of an ordered mind. He does not strive to conquer life. He commands it through calm harmony. This is the law of radiant dominion, the final revelation that man is not a seeker of power, but its living source. The universe responds to the man who lives in rhythm with divine order. He does not need to demand attention or force results, for his vibration announces him. There is a stillness in such a man that moves mountains more surely than shouting. When he enters a room, the atmosphere alters, quarrels cease, fear subsides, and the invisible current of his peace arranges all things in quiet symmetry. He has learned the supreme art of radiating harmony. To understand this law, recall the lessons before it. Thought is the cause. Emotion is the fuel. Decision is the direction. Faith is the sustaining vibration. When these unite, the mind becomes a sun, a radiant center from which all things move in order. The man who reaches this unity lives as the earth lives around the sun. calm, steadfast, luminous. He does not drift through seasons of fear. He governs them through inner light. The secret of radiant dominion is simple but eternal. You do not draw power by seeking it. You express it by being it. The timid mind begs. The master mind radiates. The timid prays for rescue. The master thanks the law for obedience. The timid reacts. The master initiates. Dominion is not possession over others, but possession over self. When your thoughts, emotions, and will are aligned, you need no authority. You are authority. Observe nature, for it is the visible book of law. The sun does not chase the planets. It holds them by its gravity. It does not argue. It radiates. Its steadiness creates order in all surrounding motion. So too with the awakened man. His vibration is steady, his purpose definite, his faith unwavering. He holds men, events, and fortune in orbit through the silent pull of inner harmony. This principle explains why true mastery is calm. The loud man is seldom powerful. His noise betrays disorder. The calm man governs because his silence is charged with certainty. There is more influence in one quiet word spoken from alignment than in 1,000 shouted by confusion. Dominion flows not from volume, but from vibration. Let me show you through examples. When Abraham Lincoln stood before a nation tearing itself apart, he did not rage nor despair. His calm serenity became the axis around which the republic turned. He radiated unity even while surrounded by division. The aura of his faith subdued the storm. Those near him said they felt stronger merely by standing in his presence. That is radiant dominion, leadership through inner order. Thomas Edison, too, embodied this law. When failure after failure came, he never allowed discouragement to enter his tone. His assistants despaired, but his calm confidence held them. He said, "We have not failed. We have found 10,000 ways that do not work." His faith was not forceful, but luminous. That vibration of certainty commanded results where force could not. Andrew Carnegie radiated abundance long before he possessed it. He spoke always of opportunity, never of lack. His magnetism drew the right men to him, men of energy and faith. Together they built an empire of steel, not through conflict, but through harmony of purpose. His secret was not ambition alone. It was the radiation of conviction that success was already his. You may notice that all men of power, though differing in form, share one quality: composure. They have mastered themselves. Therefore, life obeys them. Their calm is not apathy, but authority. It is the quiet of a mind so sure of law that it no longer doubts. When they speak, the words carry weight, because the vibration behind them is unified. If you would live under this law, begin by mastering your atmosphere. You are surrounded by a field of energy molded by your thoughts. Every agitation disturbs it. Every act of faith strengthens it. Keep this field clear through daily alignment. Spend time each morning in silence, breathing slowly until your thoughts are calm. Then speak within. Nothing can disturb my peace. All bends to my purpose. Hold that feeling until the body responds. You are tuning your vibration to harmony. Through this practice, you will discover a truth. Peace is power. The man who cannot be moved cannot be conquered. He meets criticism with composure, obstacles with patience, delay with trust. His energy, once wasted in emotional storms, now flows like a river toward creation. The world feels this steadiness and yields before it. To be the center of power, you must first cease scattering energy through conflict. The weak man fights, the strong man absorbs. The weak man reacts, the strong man redirects. When attacked, Hold your peace. Do not mirror hostility. Radiate calm. Your silence will outlast the noise of anger. This is not cowardice, but command. The sun wastes no energy quarreling with shadows. It simply shines until they vanish. The greatest test of dominion comes not in success, but in adversity. When fortune withdraws, when friends fall away, when plans crumble, hold to the vibration of order. Remember that law has not failed. It is adjusting you. The storm that breaks the weak purifies the strong. In such hours repeat, I am harmony in motion. I cannot be disturbed. All things serve my growth. Soon the tide will turn, for the vibration of peace attracts restoration. Understand that repetition is the secret of mastery. It is not monotony, but rhythm. Each time you reaffirm your faith, you deepen the groove of vibration until it becomes your identity. What begins as effort becomes nature. The man who daily radiates calm will one day find that nothing external can unseat it. His peace becomes permanent power. There is an ancient saying, the king rules not by crown, but by composure. Dominion is invisible, yet it is felt by all. When you have mastered your vibration, even your silence becomes speech. Men will look to you for guidance without knowing why. They will trust your decisions, though they cannot explain their trust. This is the magnetic pull of harmony, the natural authority of the balanced soul. When you achieve this state, work becomes effortless. You no longer struggle to create. Creation flows through you. Ideas come readily. Opportunities align, and obstacles turn to stepping stones. The world senses your vibration and organizes itself accordingly. The effort of yesterday becomes the ease of today. Dominion is not strain, but the art of allowing the infinite to act through you. Practice the hour of stillness. Each day, withdraw from noise and movement. Sit in silence with your eyes closed. Imagine a radiant light within your chest, expanding until it fills the space around you. Feel it warm and steady, pulsing with divine rhythm. Say quietly, I am calm, command. My thought is the will of the infinite made visible. Stay until every cell vibrates with that peace. This exercise builds the atmosphere through which all things obey. Remember, dominion is not isolation. The man of harmony uplifts others by his vibration. He does not force them to change. He radiates such order that they feel compelled to align. His family, his friends, his associates rise in his presence. His very demeanor becomes a sermon of peace. This is true service, leadership by example, influence through vibration. You will know you have entered dominion when your success benefits all who share it. Selfish ambition burns out. Radiant power endures. The law of harmony admits no tyranny. The man who uses force may rule for a moment, but his vibration collapses under discord. The man who rules by faith endures, for his authority is rooted in eternal law. This is the hidden reason that love is the highest form of power. Love is pure harmony, the vibration of unity with all life. It dissolves fear, heals division, and draws abundance. The man who loves his purpose, his work, and his fellow men radiates a force that cannot fail. He does not need to convince. He attracts. His energy is the language of God translated into human action. The invisible reputation of such a man precedes him. Before he arrives, his aura has already prepared the way. Others feel trust before they hear his voice. Fortune greets him as a familiar friend. This is the reward of harmony, not accident, but inevitable response to vibration. You may wonder, how can I maintain this state amid the chaos of the world? The answer lies in remembrance. You must remember who you are, a center of divine intelligence. not a servant of circumstance. Each time fear whispers, reply, I am not moved. Each time failure tempts, answer, I cannot fail, for I align with law. Each time anger beckons, say, peace is my nature. Through such reminders, your vibration remains pure. As you hold this tone, the world begins to conform. Adversaries soften, confusion clears, and new paths open as though by invisible hands. What once required struggle now happens through alignment. This is the ease born of mastery, not laziness, but perfect cooperation with law. Understand that the universe does not reward effort alone. It rewards vibration. A man may toil endlessly in fear and achieve nothing, while another, calm and clear, accomplishes more through one definite act. The difference is resonance. One fights against the current, the other flows with it. The man of radiant dominion floats upon the tide of infinite intelligence, steering only by thought. Let me speak of repetition once more, for it is the foundation of dominion. Every affirmation, every visualization, every moment of calm strengthens the current of faith. Repetition transforms belief into being. You become what you consistently radiate. The sculptor chisels day after day, not because the marble resists, but because the form emerges by rhythm. So must you carve your vibration through daily practice. Soon you will realize that you need no defense, for nothing opposes harmony. Conflict dissolves in its presence as frost before sunrise. You will cease to argue with the world, for you will see that the world is only echoing your tone. You will walk as a being of light, creating peace without effort, guiding without words. Now let us unite the lessons of all laws. Thought is your cause. Choose it wisely. Emotion is your fuel. Refine it through faith. Decision is your direction. Hold it unwavering. Faith is your rhythm. Sustain it daily. Harmony is your proof. Live it, and the world becomes orderly. This union of cause, fuel, direction, rhythm, and harmony is radiant dominion. The man who masters this union lives in a different atmosphere. He is never hurried, never afraid, never in want. His supply is steady because his vibration is steady. His joy is constant because it does not depend on events. He has become the center of his world, and all that belongs to him revolves in peace. Make these affirmations the pillars of your practice. I am calm command. I radiate harmony, and the world mirrors my peace. I am not seeking power. I am its expression. I am harmony in motion. I am faith embodied. I am the living will of good made visible. Repeat them not mechanically, but with feeling, until each phrase beats in rhythm with your heart. In time, you will no longer need to speak them, for your life will have become their proof. Know this, the man who lives by this law becomes immortal in influence. His vibration continues long after his body rests. The peace he radiates endures in the hearts he touched. The order he established multiplies through generations. Dominion is eternal because harmony is eternal. From this understanding arises a final truth. Success does not come to you. It comes through you. You are the channel, the conductor, the radiant center through which infinite intelligence expresses itself. Wealth, opportunity, love, and peace are not gifts granted from outside, but reflections of what you radiate within. You no longer need to chase, to plead, to compete. You have found the hidden current beneath all action, the rhythm of divine order. By living in that rhythm, you command without effort, attract without strain, and create without fear. So stand now in this realization. Close your eyes and feel the warmth of power rising from within, not as pride, but as peace. Say to yourself with conviction, I am a living son of faith. I radiate abundance, and abundance obeys. I radiate peace, and peace surrounds me. I radiate certainty, and the world is my reflection. I am one with the infinite law of harmony. And by that law, I am unstoppable. Hold these words until they cease to be words and become being. Walk henceforth as one who knows that the kingdom of heaven is not a distant promise, but the radiant order of a mind in harmony with itself. Wherever you go, carry your sun with you, and darkness will flee. You did not arrive here by accident. Men seldom drift toward the words that expose their excuses or awaken their sleeping courage. They drift toward noise, toward distraction, toward the ideas that allow them to remain as they are. But messages like this one appear only when a man's life has ripened for change. Think carefully. All the disappointments you have endured, all the silent years where you felt overlooked, all the nights you lay awake knowing you were meant for more, those moments were not wasted. They shaped a need, a hunger, a readiness. And when a man becomes ready, law places the right words before him. That is why you are here. You may tell yourself you simply stumbled upon this speech, but your own history betrays that lie. For years you have searched for direction, in books, in habits, in promises made at dawn and broken by nightfall. You tried discipline, you tried positive thought, you tried working harder than the man beside you, and still life refused to move. That is the sign of a man who has not yet become definite. Look back at your past, and you will see the same pattern repeating itself. A burst of energy, a surge of hope, then drift, then guilt, then the familiar voice whispering, "Perhaps greatness is not for me." You know that voice. It has lived inside you like an unwelcome tenant, feeding on your hesitation. Today, that voice has met its final hour. For if you listen with both mind and will, you will recognize a truth seldom spoken aloud. Your life has not been held back by the world, nor by circumstance, nor by lack of talent. It has been held back by one simple fact. You have not yet risen. Not truly, not with decision, not with the spirit of a man who demands his place among those who build empires with thought and perseverance. Consider the cost of remaining where you are. A year from now, if you continue drifting, what will be different? Will the work you despise suddenly reward you? Will your family look upon you with greater confidence? Will the opportunities you ignored return again, knocking gently as though they are patient servants? You know the answer. Life does not reward the passive. There are men younger than you who will soon surpass you. There are men with less talent, less opportunity, less strength, who will gather the rewards you once believed belonged to you. Not because they are better, but because they made a decision you have delayed. And delay is the silent thief of destiny. It steals a man's pride one day at a time until he forgets he ever possessed any. Imagine the consequence of another winter lived without conviction. Your children watching you repeat the same tired frustrations. Your spouse witnessing a man who promises change but still carries the same quiet resignation in his posture, your rivals, noting that you have not moved 1 inch closer to the life you declared would be yours. This is the humiliation that follows indecision. But imagine the opposite. Imagine rising at last, not with frantic energy, but with the calm certainty of a man who knows he is obeying law. Imagine the relief on the face of the one who shares your home when she sees you walk with purpose instead of doubt. Imagine your children watching you stand straighter, speak clearer, and act with the dignity of a man who no longer bargains with fear. Imagine the day your colleagues whisper, "What happened to him?" Imagine rivals noticing the new certainty in your step. Imagine the conversations behind closed doors when your name is spoken with a different tone, not as the man who never fulfills his promise, but as the man who has become dangerous to complacency. These changes do not require a miracle. They require one act: rise. Rise in thought, rise in purpose, rise in definiteness. A man lifts his entire world the moment he lifts his standard. When he declares, "I will no longer live as a shadow of myself," the universe yields. Hill wrote of this law when he spoke of desire, faith, decision, and persistence. But these words remain useless until they are spoken aloud with intent. You found this message because there is a part of you you have not yet dared to obey. A part that believes your future can still be reclaimed. A part that feels ashamed of the wasted years but refuses to accept that they define you. That voice is faint but stubborn. It has survived failure, fear, and self-doubt. It is the proof that your spirit has not surrendered. And now it demands recognition, not tomorrow, not at the turn of a new season, now. For time is not your friend, it is your judge. Every day you delay, the future you desire fades 1 degree further from your reach. Every day you rise, even imperfectly, it draws nearer. This is the law no man escapes. If you listen well, these words will not be mere inspiration. They will be a command. A command to stand up from the life that has kept you small, to break the habits that have robbed you, to silence the doubts that have humiliated you, and to walk into the realm of men who refuse to bend to fear. Say to yourself now with quiet firmness, "I rise." Let the words settle into the deepest chamber of your mind. Repeat them until they feel inevitable. A man becomes what he repeatedly declares. You are declaring ascent. You are declaring strength. You are declaring the end of drift. You found this message for a reason. Because your old life has reached its breaking point. Because a greater version of you is pounding on the door, because you can no longer afford the cost of hesitation. Rise now, and the world that ignored you will begin to notice. Rise now, and the opportunities that fled from you will return. Rise now, and you will finally meet the man you were meant to become. This is your hour, not the hour of inspiration, but the hour of decision. Rise, and your life will rise with you. Part Y, the call to rise from within. I have observed that a man reaches this hour only when the life he has carried can no longer support the weight of his own spirit. He may resist the truth, but truth remains. No man changes until the old way becomes unbearable. You have come to this moment because your former self can no longer hold the force that presses from within. A quiet stirring begins long before the world notices it. It is not loud. It does not announce itself with fanfare. It whispers. It nudges. It reminds a man again and again that he has lived beneath his own nature. I have seen this stirring in men who rose from obscurity to greatness. Their first breakthrough was inward revolt against the life that had confined them. Disappointment has not been your enemy. It has been your instructor. Every setback has carved depth into your desire. Each night you lay awake regretting wasted days was a lesson in necessity, not in despair. The world is shaped by men whose pain created hunger, and whose hunger created readiness. You stand now in that same condition. There is a law, unseen by the eyes but unmistakable in its function. When a man becomes definite, life arranges itself around him. Circumstance bends, opportunities appear. Words find him at the hour he needs them. This law has operated since the first successful soul applied thought with purpose. It operates now, drawing you to this very message. You may look upon your drifting years with shame, but I tell you, those years serve one purpose: to reveal the weakness of indecision. A man drifts not because he is cursed, but because he has not yet awakened the force of choice. One decisive hour outweighs a decade of wandering. That hour is before you. Observe the life of Henry Ford. He was not lifted by fortune. No hand favored him. He rose because he refused to remain at the level where others were content to settle. His ascent began long before he built anything with steel. It began when he built the thought that he was meant for greater things. You possess that same seed. A man must rise in thought before he rises in fortune. Thought is the first architecture of destiny. Every structure you admire, whether a bridge, a business, or a nation, was first an image in the mind of its creator. When you lift your thought, the world must follow, for the world is shaped by thinking men. Your inward posture is never hidden. Your family senses it long before you speak. They hear the hesitation in your voice, the defeat in your tone, the uncertainty behind your promises. They also sense the opposite. When a man turns upward in thought, his very silence carries new authority. His presence speaks before he utters a word. There is an inner standard that rules every man. This standard determines what he tolerates, what he expects, what he demands of himself. It lifts him or lowers him according to its level. When a man raises this standard, he raises his entire world. The moment he says, "I will no longer live as I once did," destiny shifts in his favor. Repetition is the tool by which this inner standard is built. A single phrase spoken with conviction reorganizes the subconscious mind. When you declare, "I rise," and repeat it, the deeper chambers of your mind arrange themselves around that decree. You become the expression of the thought you honor most consistently. Delay is the thief of dignity. A man who hesitates loses respect for himself. Each day he postpones the action he knows he must take. The inward voice becomes smaller, and the voice of fear becomes louder. Nothing humiliates a man more than witnessing his own unwillingness to act on his own convictions. But the moment he rises in thought, the entire world around him begins to shift. Circumstances that once resisted him begin to loosen. Opportunities that once ignored him begin to notice. Fear that once ruled him begins to retreat. A man cannot rise inwardly without drawing outward forces into new alignment. Consider the transformation that occurred in the lives of men I have known. When Ford rose in thought, the world that mocked him soon followed his lead. When Edison rose in thought, darkness surrendered to light. When Lincoln rose in thought, a divided nation found a path through its despair. Their ascent began in silence, as yours begins now. A man who rises inwardly becomes a different man to those around him. His spouse sees steadiness where once there was doubt. His children hear certainty where once there was confusion. His rivals sense danger where once they sensed weakness. The world treats a man according to the worth he assigns to himself. Life does not reward the timid. It rewards the definite. The man who says, "I rise," and means it, becomes the master of his own fate. He no longer seeks permission from circumstance. He no longer waits for better conditions. He moves, and by moving, he creates the conditions he once lacked. There is no magic in this. It is law. Thought held with intensity becomes belief. Belief held with persistence becomes action. Action repeated becomes habit. Habit becomes character. Character becomes destiny. And destiny is nothing more than thought made visible. Your disappointments have prepared you for this transformation. They have forced you to examine yourself. They have stripped away illusions. They have removed excuses. They have brought you to the threshold where a single decision will determine the remainder of your life. Do not underestimate the power of this moment. Men spend entire lifetimes searching for the courage you now feel stirring within you. Those who ignore it continue living as they have lived, and the years punish them for their refusal to rise. Those who obey it claim a life that others call impossible. Your rise will not be loud. It will begin quietly with a shift in your thought, a simple declaration, a new standard, a new expectation. These small inner movements will alter the course of your destiny far more than any outward action you have taken thus far. Say the words now. I rise. Say them again. I rise. Say them until your mind bends to their meaning. For a man becomes the words he repeats with emotion. He becomes the thought he holds with faith. He becomes the ideal he refuses to abandon. You are rising because the time has come for you to rise. Say it once more. I rise in thought, I rise in purpose, I rise in action. You are now prepared for the next step. Part 2, casting off the chains of drift. I have watched men fail, not because they lacked talent, opportunity, or strength, but because they surrendered their will to drift. Drift is the silent destroyer. It steals a man's future one small hesitation at a time. A drifting man does not fall suddenly. He erodes slowly until he becomes a stranger to his own ambition. Drift begins when a man refuses to choose. He tells himself he is waiting for the right time, the right sign, the right moment. But time is never right for the man who has not made himself right. The refusal to choose becomes a habit, and the habit becomes a chain. The psychology of drift follows a predictable path. A man becomes inspired, takes a few steps forward, meets resistance, becomes weary, then retreats. After retreat comes guilt, and after guilt comes the familiar promise, I will begin again tomorrow. Drift thrives on this promise, for tomorrow never arrives. Look at the life of Edison. He did not drift. His persistence was not a matter of chance, but a matter of decision. When others abandoned hope after a handful of failures, he pressed forward through thousands. His mind was anchored. A drifting man could not have created the inventions that changed the world. Consider Barnes, who arrived in Edison's office with nothing but determination. He had every reason to drift. No money, no influence, no guarantee of success. Yet he fastened his mind to a single aim, and the power of definiteness carried him from obscurity to partnership. Drift flees from men who know what they want. The greatest tragedy of drift is not what it steals from the world. It is what it steals from the man himself. A drifting man loses his reputation with his own soul. He no longer trusts his promises. He no longer believes his own declarations. He becomes an observer of his life instead of its master. Family members sense drift as surely as they sense fear. They do not need to hear the excuses. They recognize the tone, the slumped posture, the uncertainty in the eyes. Even those who love you cannot give confidence to a man who has not given confidence to himself. Drift weakens the bond of trust within a home. Drift alters the body. It bends the shoulders, dulls the voice, and dims the gaze. It produces a spirit that hesitates before every decision. The drifting man no longer speaks with authority. He speaks with apology. His presence announces defeat before he utters a single word. To break drift, a man must anchor his mind. Mental anchoring is the art of holding one thought so steadily that it becomes a command to the subconscious. The drifting man allows his thoughts to wander. The rising man selects one idea and holds it until his mind conforms to it. You might wonder how a man anchors his mind. It does not require genius. It requires repetition. It requires speaking one's aim aloud each day. It requires writing one's purpose until it is carved into memory. It requires returning to a single thought again and again until it becomes the dominant voice within. Small acts of definiteness are more powerful than grand dreams followed by hesitation. A man who writes his aim daily is closer to success than a man who contemplates 1,000 goals while acting on none. The world moves for the man who moves with intention. Drift hides behind fear. The 6 ghosts of fear have ruined more lives than poverty or misfortune. They whisper that others will laugh, that failure will humiliate, that poverty awaits the bold, that sickness will come, that love will be lost, that age will betray. These fears feed drift as surely as wind feeds flame. The fear of criticism is the favorite tool of drift. A man delays action because he imagines the sneers of others. But I tell you this, no man of consequence was ever free from criticism. Lincoln was condemned as a fool. Ford was dismissed as a dreamer. Rockefeller was mocked as reckless, yet they rose because they refused drift. The fear of poverty is another chain. Men hold back because they fear losing what little they have, forgetting that those who cling to small security never gain great reward. Rockefeller built his future during times when others trembled. He refused drift during conditions that paralyzed weaker men. Understand this truth. A drifting mind cannot receive opportunity. Opportunity demands a place to land. It cannot enter a mind that wanders, doubts, and hesitates. Opportunity is drawn to order, clarity, and confidence. It visits the man who has prepared a place for it. Look at Lincoln during the darkest hours of the nation. He did not wander from his purpose. His mind remained clear, his will held firm. Even when defeated by public opinion, he anchored his thought to unity and rose above the chaos that destroyed lesser leaders. Rockefeller, too, remained unshaken during the storms of commerce. While others panicked and scattered, he became more definite. He refused to drift even when the world trembled. Fortune rewards the man who remains steady when others lose direction. If you would cast off drift, you must first expose it. You must look honestly at the patterns that have governed your life. Where have you hesitated? Where have you retreated? Where have you chosen comfort instead of progress? Where have you allowed fear to guide your decisions? Once drift is exposed, it weakens. It thrives in the shadows but crumbles under scrutiny. A man who recognizes the pattern of drift has already taken the first step toward liberation. Awareness is the beginning of victory. Now you must replace drift with direction. Direction does not require a complete plan. It requires a definite aim. You need not know every step, but you must know the destination. A ship guided by a compass will reach land even without seeing the shore. Hold one thought above all others. I refuse drift. Declare it in the morning. Declare it when doubt appears. Declare it when fatigue urges you to rest in weakness. Declare it when fear whispers caution. Declare it until your mind accepts it as truth. Next, affirm direction. I choose purpose. Say it until your voice deepens with conviction. The subconscious obeys repetition. It does not argue. It follows the words you impress upon it. Speak with authority, and your inner world will reform itself. Drift loses its power when a man speaks with decision. The world respects the voice of a man who knows his direction. His colleagues treat him with deference. His rivals regard him with caution. His family looks upon him with renewed confidence. His own soul begins to trust him again. Every day you act with purpose, the chains of drift weaken. Every day you hesitate, the chains tighten. You must decide now which force will govern your life. You cannot entertain both direction and drift. One must rule, and the other must perish. Your rise depends on this choice. Once drift is cast off, the road ahead becomes clear. You no longer wander. You no longer delay. You no longer live at the mercy of fear, fatigue, or habit. You live by decision. You act by will. You move by purpose. Say the words now. I refuse drift. I choose direction. My will is my authority. Repeat them until your mind accepts them as law. You are ready for the next ascent. Part 3. The inner law that lifts a man. Every advancement a man makes begins not with fortune, not with talent, not with favor, but with a secret demand he utters within himself. No one hears it. No one sees it, but the mind hears and the mind obeys. This demand is the beginning of what I call the inner law of ascent. It is the unseen force that raises a man from his present level to the level he inwardly claims. Desire, faith, autosuggestion. These are but names for a single spiritual mechanism by which a man becomes the master of his destiny. Desire supplies the spark. Faith fuels the fire. Autosuggestion directs the flame. Together they form the inner law that lifts a man beyond the reach of doubt. A man's life advances the moment he declares that it must advance. This declaration is not a wish nor a hope, but a decree made in the quiet chamber of the mind. When a man says inwardly, I rise, he sets in motion forces that arrange themselves with precision. Circumstance bends to the will that refuses to bend. Thought becomes law when held with belief, clarity, and persistence. I have witnessed men shape their futures with nothing more than disciplined thought backed by unwavering faith. When a man holds an idea with firmness, life must eventually mirror that idea. Mind commands circumstance, not the other way around. Andrew Carnegie rose from poverty not by chance, but by enforcing this law. He believed with such intensity that his belief became a force felt by every man he encountered. Doors opened before him because he approached them with the certainty of one who expected to enter. His fortune was not built of steel alone. It was built of thought held with conviction. Carnegie once told me that every great achievement begins with a mental picture visited so often it becomes real in the mind, long before it becomes real in the world. He did not hope for riches. He expected them. He did not dream vaguely. He pictured specifically. The mind yields great power when directed with such certainty. A man rises to the level of the ideals he holds and repeats. I call this the law of mental nobility. No man can live higher than the standard he sets within himself. When a man honors a noble ideal each day, he becomes noble. When he repeats a weak idea, he becomes weak. Thought is the mold into which character is poured. Repetition is the sculptor of identity. A man becomes the expression of the idea he honors most often. When he speaks defeat, he becomes the living form of defeat. When he speaks assent, he becomes the living form of assent. Spoken words imprint themselves upon the subconscious with the weight of command. The subconscious does not reason. It obeys. It accepts the words you speak as instructions. It does not question whether the command is possible. It acts upon it. When you say, I rise, your subconscious begins arranging your habits, emotions, and decisions to match that declaration. Repetition is the chisel that shapes destiny. When a man possesses inner conviction, others sense it before he speaks. There is a quiet firmness in his step, a calm certainty in his gaze, a steadiness in his voice. He no longer requests permission from the world. He carries the authority of one who knows where he is going. Men follow such a man, often without realizing why. Faith is not a heavenly gift bestowed upon a chosen few. Faith is a state of mind created by practice. A man becomes faithful the same way he becomes skillful. By repetition, by discipline, by refusing contrary thoughts, faith is belief directed, guarded, and enforced until no doubt remains. Many men speak of faith as though it were a sentiment. It is not. It is a mental habit built through consistent practice. When you repeat your aim daily, you build faith. When you hold one thought steady, you build faith. When you refuse fear, you build faith. Faith is trained into the mind like strength is trained into the body. Autosuggestion is the method by which faith is created. I prefer to call it directed thought energy, a deliberate effort to impress the mind with the image of the future you intend to build. A man who does not control his thoughts allows them to drift. A man who controls them directs them toward a definite objective. Directed thought energy is the difference between the man who dreams and the man who achieves. The dreamer allows his thoughts to wander. The achiever binds his thought to his aim. A wandering mind leads to wandering results. A directed mind leads to directed fortune. A man's inner standard attracts people of like nature. When his standard rises, his associates change. Men of weakness feel uncomfortable in the presence of one who has raised his inner laws. Men of power recognize a kindred spirit. They sense his ambition, his discipline, his hunger. They respond accordingly. A man who raises his inner standard repels the doubtful, the lazy, the idle. He no longer tolerates their influence. His presence makes them uneasy because it exposes the smallness of their habits. At the same time, men of initiative are drawn to him, for they see in his eyes the same conviction that governs their own lives. Observe the boldness of Charles Schwab. He did not wait for permission to rise. He approached opportunity with the assurance of a man who expected success. His boldness impressed giants of industry, not because he shouted, but because he believed. His mind projected certainty long before his career reflected it. Look at Eastman, who built an empire by holding a clear vision of his creation. He saw possibilities where others saw obstacles. He believed in the power of thought so intensely that his inventions seemed inevitable. His rise was the result of mental pictures held with unwavering trust. John Wanamaker built his success upon quiet resolve. His certainty was not loud. It was calm, steady, disciplined. He repeated his aims daily. He lived them. His mind became a chamber of order, and the world responded to that order. The inner law of ascent demands repetition. Without repetition, the mind forgets. It drifts. It returns to old patterns. But with repetition, thought becomes fixed, and fixed thought becomes a force no circumstance can break. Repetition is not monotony. Repetition is mastery. A man must hold his mind steady upon the heights he seeks. If he allows wandering thoughts, fear returns. If he entertains doubt, progress halts. The heights lift only the man who keeps his attention upon them. A divided mind cannot rise. Say to yourself now, I hold my mind steady upon the heights. Say it until the words shape your inner condition. Say it until your mind recognizes the command. Say it until your thoughts align with your purpose. For the heights lift only those who remain faithful to them. The inner law of ascent operates with precision. It does not respond to half-hearted wishes. It does not bend for men who drift between hope and fear. It responds to the man who has become definite in thought, unwavering in faith, and disciplined in repetition. When you practice this inner law, opportunity begins to recognize you. It sees the firmness in your intention. It senses your readiness. It moves in your direction. Many men pray for opportunity, but only the man who has prepared his mind receives it. Your rise is not a matter of chance. It is a matter of mental law. When the mind is determined, the world must shift. When the mind is unclear, the world remains unchanged. You are lifted or lowered according to the standard you enforce upon yourself. Say the words now. I hold my mind steady upon the heights, and the heights lift me. Repeat them until they become your identity. You are now prepared for the burden and the price of ascent. Part 4. The price of ascent and the burden of greatness. No man rises without paying a price. This truth has stood since the earliest days of human endeavor. Men speak often of ambition, but few understand that ambition is merely the beginning. The true cost is paid in responsibility, discipline, and the courage to meet one's own higher nature. To rise is to accept the weight of becoming the man you were meant to be. Greatness is not granted. It is earned by those who agree to bear its burden. When a man chooses to ascend, he must abandon the comforts that once satisfied him. He must separate himself from old habits, old excuses, and old desires. The path upward demands that he leave behind every weakness he once tolerated. Success demands discipline before it produces reward. Discipline is the quiet force that separates the advancing man from the drifting man. Discipline is not punishment. It is the highest form of self-respect. A man disciplines himself because he refuses to betray his own potential. He remains loyal to his aim even when no one is watching. There will be hours when you must stand alone. Solitude is not a curse, but a furnace in which the rising man is forged. In solitude, a man gains clarity. In solitude, he meets the parts of himself he once avoided. Solitude strips away the noise of the world and reveals the truth of one's character. You must oppose your former weaknesses. They will not release you willingly. They will whisper to you that comfort is harmless, that delay is harmless, that one more moment of rest is harmless. But every weakness seeks to reclaim the man who once obeyed it. To rise, you must become an adversary to the lesser version of yourself. Every rising man must outgrow the environments that once shaped him. A man who seeks new heights cannot remain rooted in the soil that once held him down. Old acquaintances who encourage drift will resist your ascent, for your growth reveals their stagnation. They will urge you to remain within familiar boundaries. Do not resent them. They are not your enemies. They are reflections of who you once were. You must love them without allowing them to influence your path. A man cannot rise while carrying the expectations of those who prefer comfort over progress. Leave them gently, but leave them. The law of exchange governs all advancement. For every increase, something lesser must be surrendered. If you desire strength, you must release weakness. If you desire clarity, you must release confusion. If you desire discipline, you must release indulgence. No man can receive while clinging to what no longer serves him. Persistence is not brute force. It is allegiance to one's purpose across all conditions. Even when fatigue weighs upon your shoulders, persistence whispers that you must continue. Even when discouragement clouds your vision, persistence reminds you of the oath you made to yourself. Persistence is the proof that belief has taken root. Observe Henry Ford. When the world ridiculed his ideas, he did not argue. He remained faithful to his vision. His persistence was not noise, but quiet certainty. He outlasted those who doubted, surpassed those who mocked, and proved that the man who refuses to surrender becomes unstoppable. Look at Edison, who endured more failures than most men could bear. He did not interpret failure as defeat. He interpreted it as refinement. He understood that persistence was the true test of faith. His countless trials produced inventions that altered the lives of millions. His rise was bought with the price of unyielding devotion. Lincoln bore the burden of leadership during a time when the nation trembled. His character did not allow retreat. He carried the weight of an entire people. His persistence was not loud. It was carved into the very structure of his soul. He is remembered not because he wished for success, but because he endured for it. Family and friends often resist a man's ascent because it changes the order they have come to expect. Your rise challenges their habits. Your discipline challenges their excuses. Your certainty challenges their doubts. They fear losing the version of you that made them comfortable. You must remain firm without hostility. The rising man does not argue. He does not boast. He does not seek approval. He follows his path with quiet resolve. When others question him, he answers with conduct, not with explanation. His actions speak the language of inevitability. Arrogance is the enemy of ascent. Arrogance is insecurity seeking applause. The rising man is definite without being prideful. His definiteness comes from alignment with purpose, not from desire for recognition. He does not need praise, for his reward is the satisfaction of becoming more than he once was. To sustain your rise, you must guard your mind with precision. A single negative influence can undo days of progress. Gossip weakens the mind. Complaint poisons the spirit. Idle conversation scatters the attention. The rising man protects his thoughts as a guardian protects a treasure. Accuracy of thought is essential. You must think clearly, speak clearly, and act clearly. Confusion invites drift. Drift invites defeat. The man who rises must see his aim with such sharpness that nothing can cause him to waver. He must know what he wants and why he wants it. The burden of greatness refines a man. It polishes his manners, sharpens his judgment, strengthens his will. The rising man becomes trustworthy because he has mastered himself. Others sense his steadiness. They feel safe in his presence because he governs his own nature with discipline. True confidence is not loud. It does not demand attention. True confidence is quiet power. It radiates through conduct. A confident man does not need to prove himself. He does not need to announce his worth. His worth is evident in the way he carries himself, in the way he meets difficulty, in the way he speaks with calm authority. Men are drawn to the one who carries quiet confidence. They respect him even before they understand him. They recognize that his strength comes not from circumstance, but from character. This kind of confidence cannot be faked. It is earned through discipline, sacrifice, and unwavering loyalty to one's purpose. Every rising man must confront the temptation to return to comfort. The early stages of ascent often bring discomfort. Old habits call out, old pleasures beckon. Old excuses whisper that the climb is too steep. But the rising man ignores these voices. He knows that comfort once betrayed him. You must become immune to the appeal of your former life. You must see it for what it was, a collection of habits that kept you small. Each time you resist the pull of comfort, your new identity strengthens. Each time you choose purpose over ease, your future bows before your will. Greatness requires that you align your conduct with your aim. You cannot claim a high aim while living by low habits. You must behave in accordance with the man you intend to become. Your actions must foretell your destiny. Before the world sees your rise, you must live as though it were already accomplished. There will be times when progress seems invisible. You will wonder whether your efforts matter. You will question whether the path is working, but you must continue. Progress often moves beneath the surface long before it breaks into the open. The roots grow before the branches appear. Do not measure your rise by immediate results. Measure it by consistency of effort. Measure it by the strength of your character. Measure it by your refusal to drift. A man who persists with integrity will eventually see his reward. The world cannot deny the man who refuses to deny himself. As you rise, you must choose your counsel wisely. The wrong advisor can mislead you. The wrong companion can weaken you. The wrong influence can cloud your mind. Surround yourself with men who live by principle, men who practice discipline, men whose character lifts yours. A rising man must learn to walk alone, but he should never walk among the small-minded. Seek the company of those who think boldly, act decisively, and live with purpose. Their presence sharpens your own ambition. Their conduct elevates your standard. Their belief reinforces your faith. The price of ascent includes continual refinement. You must become better each day, even in small ways. Improvement is not a one-time event. It is a lifelong duty. The man who stops improving begins declining. The man who stops rising begins falling. There is no neutral ground in the climb toward greatness. You must accept that some will misunderstand your rise. They may accuse you of being distant, intense, or overly driven. They do not see that you are aligning yourself with a greater aim. They do not know the weight of your purpose. Their misunderstanding must not deter you. Hold your aim with dignity. Do not explain yourself to those who cannot comprehend the demands of your ascent. A man who understands purpose needs no justification. A man who lacks purpose cannot understand one who possesses it. Rise anyway. Fear will attempt to sabotage your climb. Fear of failure, fear of criticism, fear of isolation, fear of responsibility. But fear loses authority when confronted directly. A rising man does not wait to feel courageous. He acts and courage appears. He moves and fear recedes. Fatigue will visit you. It will whisper that you have done enough, that you deserve rest, that progress can wait. But fatigue is not a verdict. It is merely a reminder that the path requires strength. Rest when needed, but do not retreat. The climb rewards only the persistent. Discouragement will attempt to sway you. It will point to slow progress, compare your path to others, and suggest that your efforts are in vain. But discouragement is a temporary fog. If you continue walking, it will lift. Beyond it lies the view you have struggled to reach. The burden of greatness is the burden of self-command. When you command yourself, the world cannot command you. When you rule your own thoughts, no man can enslave your future. When you discipline your habits, destiny becomes your servant. Say now, I accept the price, I accept the burden, I accept the man I am becoming. Repeat it until the words shape your identity. Repeat it until your actions mirror your intention. Repeat it until the burden feels natural and the climb feels inevitable. You are now prepared for the final transformation. Part 5, Becoming the Man Who Cannot Fall. There comes a point in a man's ascent when the fear of falling disappears. It does not vanish because the world becomes easier. It vanishes because the man himself has changed. He has built an inner foundation so firm, so disciplined, so deeply rooted in purpose that defeat cannot gain a foothold within him. He becomes the man who cannot fall because he rises from within. A man who rises correctly rises from the center of his being. His strength is not built upon fortune, nor approval, nor circumstance. It is built upon character, determination, and inner law. When a man rises from within, he cannot be toppled by the storms outside. He may bend, but he does not break. He may tire, but he does not surrender. Your rise must come from the secret chamber of your mind, where doubt once ruled. When doubt is replaced with certainty, the world can no longer conquer you. Circumstances that once frightened you now obey you. Problems that once overwhelmed you now strengthen you. The man who masters himself no longer fears misfortune, for he knows misfortune cannot master him. The man who cannot fall possesses a permanent identity. This identity is forged through repetition, purpose, and faith. A man may speak of change, but unless he changes his identity, he will return to his former ways. The rising man knows this, and therefore he trains his subconscious to accept a new self-image, one that will defend itself against weakness. Identity permanence is the state in which the subconscious mind adopts the new version of you as the only acceptable form. Once adopted, it resists any attempt to return to old habits. The subconscious protects the new identity as fiercely as it once protected the old. This is why a man who truly rises finds it impossible to return to his former mediocrity. The subconscious mind becomes the guardian of your ascent. It reminds you when you drift. It urges you forward when you hesitate. It rejects behaviors that contradict your purpose. It becomes your silent ally, your internal companion, your constant reinforcement. No man can rise permanently until the subconscious accepts the new standard as law. A man's conduct begins to reflect his identity. His habits shift without strain. His tone deepens. His posture strengthens. His choices align with his aim. Without forcing himself, he becomes the kind of man he once admired from a distance. What was once effort becomes nature. What was once discipline becomes instinct. This transformation does not occur overnight. It is earned through repetition, belief, and decision. But once formed, this new identity cannot be dismantled by discouragement, criticism, or failure. The rising man may momentarily lose balance, but he never loses direction. He may fall in the eyes of the world, but he does not fall in the eyes of his own soul. As your identity strengthens, your reputation transforms. Men respond to you differently. They hear conviction in your voice. They see purpose in your movement. They notice steadiness where once there was uncertainty. They sense that you have conquered the invisible battles that most men never face. Reputation is nothing more than the world's recognition of your inner condition. When the inner condition changes, the reputation follows. Men trust the one who trusts himself. They respect the one who respects his aim. They follow the one who follows his own purpose with unwavering loyalty. Observe the steadiness of Rockefeller. His rise was not the product of chance. It was the result of a mind so disciplined, so balanced, so inwardly anchored that financial storms could not shake him. Men around him panicked. He remained calm. Markets collapsed. He remained certain. His identity was his fortress. Consider Carnegie. His certainty was not arrogance, but clarity. He believed in his purpose so deeply that others felt compelled to believe in it as well. His confidence did not come from fortune, but from obedience to inner law. He trained his mind to rise above fear, and the world rewarded him with opportunities entrusted only to the steady. Look at Edison. His endurance made him unshakable. Failures that would have broken lesser men only strengthened his resolve. He possessed the identity of an inventor long before he succeeded. His inner conviction created an outer destiny that no criticism could hinder. His identity lifted him beyond the reach of discouragement. As you rise, your home will feel the change. A man's household senses his inner condition before the world does. Your spouse will see steadiness where once there was doubt. She will feel safer beneath your presence. For a man who commands himself commands his environment. Your children will walk with greater confidence, for they see in you the model of certainty. A rising man influences his home through his conduct, not through speeches. His presence becomes a standard. His actions become instruction. His discipline becomes inspiration. He becomes the silent teacher whose lessons shape the character of those who look to him for leadership. Opportunity begins to trust the rising man. This may sound strange, but I assure you it is true. Opportunity does not trust the indecisive, the timid, or the wavering. It approaches only those who demonstrate readiness. When a man rises with purpose, opportunity arrives not as a visitor, but as a companion. A man who trusts himself becomes magnetic. Doors open for him. Paths clear, allies appear. Not because the world wishes to favor him, but because he has aligned himself with the law that governs advancement. When a man obeys inner law, outer law obeys him. Your inner state becomes your outer world. If your mind is orderly, your affairs become orderly. If your thought is clean, your decisions become clean. If your purpose is definite, your progress becomes definite. The world mirrors the inner arrangement of a man's mind. Fortune is not the result of luck. Fortune is the harvest of ordered thought. Respect is not the result of demand. Respect is the reflection of inward authority. Influence is not the result of charm. Influence is the natural consequence of controlled thought and disciplined purpose. The man who rises must continue to rise. Growth must be continuous. Improvement must be daily. The mind must be fed with purpose. The heart must be strengthened with discipline. The soul must be anchored with faith. The rising man does not wait for inspiration. He creates it through repetition. Repeat your chief aim each morning. Repeat your governing idea. I rise each night. Speak your purpose aloud until your voice becomes steady. Write your aim until your mind accepts it as truth. A man becomes what he impresses upon his own subconscious. The rising man becomes immune to discouragement. This immunity is not the absence of disappointment. It is mastery over it. When a man interprets obstacles as signals to grow, discouragement loses authority. The rising man does not curse difficulty. He studies it. He learns from it. He grows through it. When you rise, fear transforms from an enemy into a teacher. It reveals the areas where growth is needed. It shows the boundaries of your former identity. It becomes a guide rather than a chain. The rising man walks through fear with the calmness of one who knows he is greater than any obstacle. The man who cannot fall has learned that setbacks are temporary. He knows that a single day does not define a destiny. He knows that fatigue fades, discouragement fades, resistance fades, but the man who persists becomes immovable. He rises because he refuses to accept any alternative. Your rise will redefine your associations. Men of power will recognize you as one of their own. Men of weakness will distance themselves, for your strength exposes their doubt. This is not arrogance. It is law. Like attracts like. Strength gathers around strength. You must stand guard over your environment. Associate with men whose presence elevates your purpose. Seek counsel from those who live with integrity. Choose companions who rise themselves. Avoid the idle, the negative, the drifting. Their influence is poison to a rising mind. A man who cannot fall has mastered the art of quiet determination. He does not boast of his rise. He does not announce his plans. He builds silently, steadily, faithfully. His results speak. His character speaks. His conduct speaks. The world recognizes power in silence. The rising man no longer fears criticism. He understands that criticism is the proof of progress. Only the man who stands still escapes criticism. Those who rise attract the voices of the small-minded. But the man who rises listens only to the guidance of his purpose. The man who cannot fall no longer waits for favorable conditions. He creates them. He no longer waits for inspiration. He acts and inspiration follows. He no longer hopes for confidence. He moves and confidence grows. His strength comes from his willingness to do what others avoid. Let me tell you a truth few will ever understand. The man who rises becomes dangerous, not to others, but to his former limitations. He becomes a threat to weakness, fear, and drift. He becomes a destroyer of excuses. His existence proves that greatness is possible for any man who chooses it. You are becoming such a man now. You feel the shift. You sense the awakening. You recognize that the man you once were cannot follow you where you are going. Your former habits have lost authority. Your former fears have begun to retreat. Your former doubts have grown weaker. You must continue. You must grow stronger. You must rise higher. The world needs men of this nature, men who command themselves, men who live by principle, men who cannot be broken by circumstance or shaped by fear. Say the words now, I rise. Say them again with deeper conviction, I rise. Now declare them with the authority of identity, I rise each day, I rise each hour, I rise until nothing in me remains small. The man who cannot fall is the man who refuses to return to smallness. He lives each day with intention. He guards his thoughts. He disciplines his habits. He honors his purpose. He trusts his spirit. He rises, and by rising he reshapes the world around him. You have walked through the valley of drift. You have confronted the burden of ascent. You have trained the inner law. You have accepted the cost. Now you stand at the threshold of permanence, where your rise becomes the natural state of your being. From this point forward, you are no longer the man who hopes. You are the man who decides. You are no longer the man who drifts. You are the man who directs. You are no longer the man who fears. You are the man who rises. Rise now and continue rising until you become the man who cannot fall. Epilogue. The summit awaits the man who rises. There comes a moment when a man must close the book on who he once was and step fully into who he has decided to become. You have reached that moment now. The words you have heard were not arranged to entertain you. They were arranged to awaken you, to stir the ancient strength that has slept too long within your soul. If your heart feels the pull of these truths, it is because you have arrived at the border between the life you have lived and the life you were meant to claim. Few men reach this border. Fewer still cross it. For beyond this boundary lies a world that demands courage, clarity, and unbroken commitment. Only the rising man may enter. Everything you have endured, the disappointments, the sleepless nights, the quiet battles, the hidden doubts, has prepared you for this hour. Nothing was wasted. Every struggle was a chisel shaping the mind required to climb. You were not being punished. You were being prepared. Now you know what drift is. You know how it weakens a man. You know how it steals his dignity and blinds him to his own potential. And you know how decisiveness, purpose, and repetition break its chains. You can never return to the life of drifting, for you have seen it for what it is, a slow death of the spirit. You have learned the inner law by which all great men rise. You have seen how thought becomes command, how command becomes habit, and how habit becomes destiny. You have witnessed the blueprint followed by Ford, Edison, Carnegie, Lincoln, Rockefeller, Schwab, Eastman, and every man who ever lifted himself above the crowd. Their power was not given, it was forged. Their greatness was not inherited, it was built. And the same laws that lifted them now stand ready to lift you. Thought is the seed, faith is the soil, persistence is the sunlight, identity is the root, and destiny is the fruit that grows from these elements combined. You have accepted the price of ascent. You have agreed to carry the burden of greatness. This burden will shape you. It will refine your voice, sharpen your decisions, Strengthen your will and awaken your noblest qualities. Carry it with dignity, for it is proof that life has chosen you to rise. You now stand as the man who cannot fall, not because life will spare you hardship, but because you will no longer bow to it. You will rise through fatigue. You will rise through uncertainty. You will rise through fear. You will rise even when everything in you demands rest. For rising is no longer something you do. It is something you are. Look at yourself honestly. Do you not feel the shift? Do you not sense the awakening? Do you not know even now that you are meant for more? You were not created for smallness. You were not born to drift. You were not sent here to repeat the same tired cycle of hesitation, guilt, regret, and surrender. You were made to rise, to lead, to conquer your inner world so thoroughly that the outer world must bow in recognition. The summit of your life awaits you. You will not reach it in one leap. You will reach it step by step, day by day, thought by thought. And each time you declare, I rise, the summit draws nearer. Each time you act with purpose, the summit draws nearer. Each time you reject drift, the summit draws nearer. Men will notice the change in you. Some will admire you. Some will envy you. Some will feel threatened by your transformation. But all will know that you are no longer who you once were. Your presence will carry a new weight. Your voice will carry new authority. Your actions will carry new certainty. Your family will feel safer. Your children will see a model of strength. Your spouse will feel the steadiness of a man who commands himself. Your rivals will sense a force they must respect. Your associates will recognize a leader in the making. This is the power of the rising man. Every day from this moment forward, repeat the words that have opened the gates of your new identity. I rise in thought. I rise in purpose. I rise in action. I rise until nothing in me remains small. Let these words etch themselves into your subconscious. Let them become the drumbeat of your destiny. Let them remind you each morning of the oath you made to yourself, that you will never again sink to the level of your former doubts. Walk forward now with the dignity of the man who has chosen himself at last. The future bends toward the man who rises. The world respects the man who rises. Life rewards the man who rises. And the summit belongs to the man who rises. Rise, and your life will rise with you. Rise, and the world that ignored you will take notice. Rise, and you will finally meet the man you were always meant to become.